They ascend. Well. Thank you very much for staying with us here on the show, which is also on 281 on DSTV. Well, here with me in the studio are Victor Achutamaklo and Mubarak Haruna. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Likewise.
Well, so the conversation about it coming home is now one game away from becoming reality. And the English have waited for a very, very long time for a major trophy.
They have. And this will be only their second final in a major competition since 1960. And both have come under Gareth Southgate, for a man who's been heavily criticized for good reason, though. But I think this was perhaps their best performance of the competition. They played on the front foot, were able to express themselves. The manager made the substitutions at the right time. Both sets of substitutions were able to influence the game. And even apart from the pair who created the goal, earlier, after the first half, you could tell that the player to take off was Kieran Trippier. He got that right as well. And so it was, for all intents and purposes, a perfect night for English football.
This show of character, this show of the will to fight back and reverse, the dominance and all of that, what does it do for England going forward? Because this is a major statement against no lesser side about the Netherlands.
Yes, Nat, one key thing about this England team is I think the unity in camp is an environment that is very, very good to play in. Southgate has assembled so many good players in the squad, and not all the quality players are playing, even though a couple of them have made it known that they are unhappy, that they are not playing enough. But then none of them is trying to create some sort of instability. Nobody is trying to injure that peaceful bubble the players are in at the moment. They just get onto the field and they are trying to get a job done. Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney, these players, Cole Palmer, these players emerge from the bench and they give their all. There's nothing like, I'm not playing, I'm not going to give my best. The coach is underestimating me. The players are docile, they are subservient, and they are trying as much as possible to give their all on the pitch. Even if it's a minute to full time, they are just giving their all. And I think that is working magic for Gareth Southgate.
There have been times when, in the previous years, you saw Southgate playing games against the Netherlands. You also saw Koeman do same. The two coaches knew what it meant, this game. What it meant in terms of adding to the history or reversing it. And yesterday, Gareth Southgate reversed the history, which is to beat the Netherlands at this stage of the competition for the very first time in the history as well.
He did, and with great help from some of the players who hitherto had not really excelled. I think yesterday was perhaps Phil Foden's best game. In the first half, he was a real threat on a number of occasions, even though I felt he could have done more. But he had an effort on goal that was comfortably saved by the goalkeeper. The second attempt that he made clipped off the side post and went out for a goal. He very unlucky because the goalkeeper was completely beaten there. But I thought overall his performance was quite good. The manager took him off at the time when his influence on the game appeared to have waned, and so it was the right call then. Then even for the goal, it was out of nothing really, because 9 out of 10 times you would expect that the defender guides the centre forward into no man's land, because he was not facing goalwards. But that was a brilliant first touch from Ollie Watkins to just create the angle for him and give himself a chance at shooting at goal. Even then, it was still from a very impossible angle, despite that brilliant first touch. But he fired, took the shot very early, and the angle was very good. The angle that he made on that shot was very good. And perhaps the goalkeeper should have made the save. Perhaps Stefan de Vrij could have been a bit closer and stopped him from getting a clean shot at goal, but full marks to him. My issue with Gareth Southgate is I'm not too sure if this moves the needle for him as far as public perception and his ratings are concerned, because where has this England team been all tournaments? Where has this team been all tournaments? And a lot of the tweaks he made yesterday were things that you would say were commonsensical, were as expected of him. But right from the group stage, there were games where you wanted to see him make certain adjustments to the team. He wasn't doing that. But yesterday, the team played well. And if there is anything that is going to change my perception of my viewing of him, perhaps it is going to be if he's able to win that competition. He's done well with this team, but in this particular tournament, what he's done is the barest minimum that was expected of the English team. If you look at that side of the draw, it was fairly negotiable. No real problems or difficulties faced by the English, and they have beaten the teams that they were expected to beat. And so I think that the real point to success for him has to be making the final. But of course, you cannot discount everything that he's done with this team. This is as consistent as England have been in their entire history, if you take away the period when they won the World Cup, because since Gareth Southgate became the manager of the team, he's taken them to 3 semi-finals, twice at the World Cup, or once at the World Cup, twice at the Euros. He's taken them to 2 finals now, both at the European Championships. And the only thing you can ask for has to be the title. But you can also not avoid the feeling that in the past month, it has looked like England have been a bit stale in terms of how he's managed the team. So the only thing that will quieten all of the critics has to be the title.
Mubarak, what is it, or where do you feel the Netherlands got it wrong? Or at which point during the game do you feel the Dutch had just lost it and we're going to lose this game?
Yeah, it's their concentration level. They showed signs of what they can do by scoring the first goal. They've created a couple of few opportunities, but there is the Dutch team that just can't concentrate for 90 minutes. They always give away chances, and I think that was what went wrong for them yesterday. It will always be difficult breaking down this England team. They concede, but then it's very difficult to beat England. Very, very difficult. They haven't lost a game in this tournament so far, and it tells you how resilient they are. And even if they trail, they have that kind of a comeback spirit, okay, to believe, that kind of belief that they can come back and then win games. It's not the first time they trailed in this competition. They did that against Slovakia, right, as well. Yes, so they did against Switzerland. So yeah, they conceded their first goal in the 2 games, and then they came behind and then secured the win. I felt the Netherlands were not good defensively yesterday, and that kind of collective, the clarity in terms of the players knowing what to do on the pitch defensively, I think they were lacking that, and that caused them yesterday.
All right, so let's go for the highlights now, and after that, we come back to do some more in terms of reviewing that game and looking ahead, of course, to what England is going to contribute to that very big final game that we'll all be seeing on Sunday. And of course, remember that this show is proudly sponsored by NASCO. NASCO Bring Home Happiness and Heritage Christian College, educating passionate entrepreneurial leaders. Remember, the Joy Sports team will be at the Heritage Brewery on Sunday in East Legon. It's going to be massive. It's going to be amazing. Remember, the last time we were there, it was just something else. So bring all the conversations there onto the ground. We're going to be having conversations with the fans and all that, and we'll be building up to that big final. Remember that our live commentary here at the Multimedia Group as well is proudly supported by Sporty TV and Sporty Bet. Remember, Sporty Bet are the territorial rights holders for radio commentary, and so we are glad to be associated with them. Remember, we're bringing you this show and live commentary and many other massive content for the Euros because of our association with Sporty TV and Sporty Bet. Remember, you can also catch the final on Sunday on channel 36 of your digital TV channels. And remember, today as well, we're doing a giveaway. So once again, be attentive. Listen to Victor Achutamaklo. Listen to Mubarak Haruna. And maybe you'd have to be, recalling some of the things that, Adamu has said right here. All right, Adamu Karim comes later on to bring us some of the facts and figures. Let's go back for the moment to look at what possibly may have gone wrong for the Dutch and how the English took it. And, Ollie decided to get that 90th minute screamer for everything to end for the Dutch. All right, so those were some very, very unfortunate scenes. This has been on social media for a while now. These are the very, very regrettable scenes that you'd want to see in football. Clearly, we can reasonably presume that the fans in the orange jerseys are the Dutch fans and those in the white jerseys are the English fans. But whatever it be, no matter what kind of branding we give either side, this should never, ever happen.
It shouldn't happen.
And of course, it goes to also underscore the fact that these countries, because of the relative levels of smoothness in their economies, are able to afford foreign travel to follow their respective national teams. So you get large numbers that go way beyond the capacity of the stadium that hosts these games.
It's not just affordability, it's the ease of access and how comfortable or easier it is to
the transportation system.
Transportation system. Sometimes you don't even need flights to move across countries and all of that. But it just goes back to question the decision to lift the ban on the percentage of alcoholism that English fans were allowed to take in, right? And whether or not UEFA made the right call. And I said it here 2 weeks ago that I'm not sure UEFA had made the right decision. You draw a hard line on some of these things. When there's a clear pattern of substance abuse influencing the behavior of a certain group of people at certain events, you take a stance against it and say, you come here, you don't take in alcohol. And yesterday, the game at the Euros was not only the only major footballing event where substances or alcohol influence the behavior of certain individuals. It happened at the Copa America as well, with some players even getting into that brawl and all of that. And that's why I will repeat what I said that day on this very show, that UEFA made the wrong decision in deciding. And it comes to me as though it was just a marketing ploy just to make their money. And once they made their money, they decided to just open the floodgates and allow people to drink to their fill. But this is it. And you know, the very incidents that provoked the decision to introduce those sanctions in the first place, where did it happen? Wembley. The final of the Euros, the last time between England and Italy. And we saw the way the security detail designed for that day simply could not control the English fans. In their own reports, they did establish that a good number of some of the people who were arrested were heavy on alcohol and other substances. The idea that you can give them a free pass when they have not demonstrated any deviation from norm, any deviation from character, and just say that at the next tournament, yeah, you, the same people who went and misbehaved at Wembley, can come here. And make no mistake, or don't get me wrong, I'm not saying whatever happened, it is the English who are at fault. I'm just saying that where people are allowed to take in alcohol to certain levels or degrees, you don't mix that with high-octane sports like football, where under normal circumstances, emotions are high. It's adrenaline pumping, and everyone is very emotional in that moment, especially after defeat. Look, no matter the outcome in a knockout competition, one team or one set of fans are going to be provoked. Adding alcohol is simply a no-no.
So, well, very, very sad incident indeed. I mean, this is an amateur video and we're unable to ascertain what was the main trigger, but these are, you know, scenes that are associated with tournaments and big games such as these. And these, once again, must be very much prohibited, and not prohibited necessarily, but must be sanctioned once the authorities are able to get their hands on some who are, you know, visible, some of these visible faces in this unfortunate video. There was a conversation we were having during the round of commercials about the validity of the penalty call, which was eventually converted by Harry Kane. For you, do you have any issues with it? Eventually, Virgil van Dijk was asked a question about it, and he steered clear of it, and he stated very clearly that he didn't want to get into trouble.
Nat, if the incident had happened somewhere not in the 18-yard box, would we have issues with it? Is the question I'm asking. I think it's, there was contact, and I don't know if Benaya can roll the video again, the penalty.
Well.
Yes. Dumfries had his studs high, trying to block Harry Kane's shot. He caught him. He caught him, though it's marginal, but he caught him. And you can make a case that Harry Kane made a meal out of it. Yeah, you can see there. So clearly, Dumfries had his studs up. He caught Harry Kane. It may be marginal, but he caught him. And you can also make a case that Harry Kane made a meal out of it. He overreacted, holding his leg on the grass. But I think it's a penalty. No matter how you look at it, it's a penalty. He was trying to block the shot, and he caught Harry Kane. And for me, it's a penalty.
Mm. And also the element of this post-match interview with Virgil van Dijk, where he stares clear and says, "Listen, you want to get me into trouble. You want to get me into trouble. These are the kinds of things you guys do."
Look, we're having a conversation about the penalty because of who is involved or was involved in making that decision and where he comes from.
Of course, the referee.
Yes.
And his previous issues with...
where he comes from, because in Germany...
match fixing.
The instructions for officiating and handling incidents like last night's are pretty clear. They will interpret that sort of contact as a dangerous tackle, and for that matter, a penalty. We see it all the time in the German Bundesliga. So when you throw him into the mix, and for the avoidance of doubts, the protocol that was given to referees before this competition also is consistent with the decision that he made. That's why once he got there and he saw it, he didn't waste time at all, and he made that call. So based on his background and where he's coming from, that is the sort of call he's going to make. Perhaps other referees, and that's why if you look at the composition of the commentary on social media, a lot of the Premier League fans, a lot of the Serie A fans kept saying this is not a penalty, because if this happens in the Premier League, the referees have been told not to give that as a penalty. So I can understand the dissenting views on this. But the central theme in that incident is the man who made that call, Felix Zweier. Because of his background and his past with match fixing, he, in 2005, was found culpable of fixing a match for 300 euros. Later, he was suspended for 6 months. He came back. And these days, gets some high-profile matches. But just before, I think 2 or 3 years ago, Jude Bellingham had reason to call his competence into question when he awarded a controversial penalty in a game between Bayern Munich and then Borussia Dortmund. And then Bellingham made that famous statement that what do you expect when you bring a match fixer to come and officiate our match? So before this game, it prompted an inquest or inquiry into his past. And that's why we saw that lengthy statement from UEFA on Monday, ostensibly to clear his name and say that this guy is legit, he is good. In fact, at the round of 16, he officiated the match involving the Dutch team. I'm just saying that, look, you are UEFA, you have 1,001 competent referees. Bringing someone whose name has been tainted does not do you or anyone favors at all, because every mistake he makes will be interpreted with a certain, will be viewed from the prism of what he's done in the past.
Now, once again, back to, how we all comment about, the performance of referees and all of that. You look at Europe, you look at certain leagues in certain jurisdictions, and you realize that the football ecosystem protects the brand to the extent that you're not able to comment too much, even if the referee has gone wrong. If you want to comment, you make quick, light comments, not light, but just brief comments and move on. You don't stay on the subject, because that's the brand that feeds everybody.
Yeah, brand is very important. Viewers and match goers must be confident in officials. They must be convinced that once their team loses a game or wins a game, it's legit. It's not because of the unfair officiating of an official. And I think that rule is perfectly fine. If you have any issue with officiating, you just have to make it official, write it, and then you send it to those in authority to clarify. But you just don't go out to the media and then express any... And football is about emotions. Once you are being allowed to talk, you can say everything. You just have to be like Jose Mourinho. If I speak, I'll be in trouble. Just like that.
Look, I disagree. I think that over the years, we've seen a very inexplicable implementation of this whole protocol that players, officials do not talk back to referees, and it makes no sense. It's almost as if to say you have to be willing to accommodate the excesses or the mistakes of the referee, but you, who suffer for the referee's mistakes on that pitch, and sometimes it will cost you the results, are at no liberty or do not have the liberty to react or say anything back to the referee, including captains. Yesterday, the incident in question, Virgil van Dijk himself referee makes the wrong call because the incident that got him booked, there was no foul whatsoever. There was no contact whatsoever. Referee whistles for a foul against the Dutch. And then when Van Dijk complains that, yo, you're making the wrong call, there was no contact, and you are close enough. So there is no way you could have not seen what happened for you to even give that decision. Referee says it's a yellow card. There's a point to which the protection of the referee's authority just transcends and becomes an abuse of his authority. Because if, in your estimation, we have to accommodate the referee's mistakes, you also need to understand these players are humans. And they, more than the referee, suffer for any indiscretion or any mistake the referee is likely to make. I think that we are getting to a point where IFAB, UEFA, and all of these bodies that play with the rules or that use the regulations that IFAB promulgates need to come to the realization that, look, they are being too harsh to the point. It's borderline cynical that some of the calls that referees will make that will alter the course of a game, that will sometimes suspend a player from an important match. And we're pretending that in that moment, the player has to detach himself from that pressure cooker environment and all of a sudden lose every emotion in him and then begin to see the game from the perspective of the referees and accommodate the referee's mistake. It's impossible. They are humans. Showing that emotion is part of it. Of course, if it becomes excessive, you will expect that a referee will show the card. But every time a player talks back to referee, every time a player follows the referee around and they get booked, for me, I think it's excessive and something has to be done. Because whatever happened to Van Dijk yesterday was simply not fair. And I wouldn't want to see that happen to a Black Stars player or to a player of a team that I support.
Interesting stuff there. So the Netherlands missing out on that opportunity. However it went, in terms of controversy it went, they have lost the opportunity. And now England need to go and chase that silverware, but have Spain to deal with. Well, we'll be going into all of those dynamics in a bit. Of course, tomorrow as well, we'll be doing some more detailed analysis on the dynamics of that game that we're expecting on Sunday between the two sides. But of course, I would remember, you'd have to remember this, that later this morning we're going to give away a prize. So that's the reason why you have to be ready for that very big question I'll be asking. Remember, the show is proudly sponsored by NASCO and Heritage Christian College with proud association with SportyBet and Sporty TV. All right, let's look at the two semi-final games and what was key for you in arriving at the respective results that we saw. A 2-1 win for Spain, a 2-1 win for England. Let's begin with you, Mubarak.
Yeah, I predicted the two teams would be in the final. I was very confident in Spain with what they've demonstrated in the competition and with the kind of team they are facing in France, who have really struggled in front of goal, who haven't been expansive and expressive as we want them to be. So I expected Spain to go through. For England, yesterday I told you my heart was with England, my head was with the Netherlands. But at the end of the day, I told you that marginally, it's something that I don't know whether it's luck, I don't know. But whichever way, England, some way, somehow, they get the job done. They find a way through. They've been in difficult situations in this tournament, and they were on the cusp of elimination. But before you realize, they turn up in moments, and tournaments are always won in moments. There are so many instances, even at club level, you don't need to be the best team to win a competition or a title. You just have to turn up in moments and then conjure magic. And the English, I think they have that. In the final, the most important thing for England is the way they set up. They are facing, obviously, a very strong opponent. And in as much as Spain are strong offensively, they always leave gap defensively. They always do that. They did that. They'll give you chances. They did that against France. They did that against Germany. They'll give you chances. And facing a team like England that have probably scored more goals than they are expected to score, I feel that could probably work the magic for England, yes.
Well, working the magic for England indeed. We'll do a round of commercials, and after that, we'll bring you Karim's tits and his tidbits. And then after that, we're going to bring you the Big question for the day, as well as the giveaway from NASCO as well. Every reason to stay here with us on Euros Today. So there we go. It's time to take a listen to the man we now refer to as International Karim for various reasons. Yeah. Karim, what is funny? We haven't even asked you any question.
Hey, you haven't seen anything, please.
There's a disclaimer. That is what I've seen.
Okay.
What did
How
you
you
see?
doing?
Keep quiet.
Let me answer this
Now you are
question
getting
first.
more accolades than Olympics. International Karim, sweet Karim. Hey, what's happening? Charlie.
Maybe you should ask Achu. He's one of those couching those names. So
I see.
Yes.
I see.
Achu, how are you?
Yeah, the reason Daniel is still not showing up on the show.
He's afraid. So
He has no choice tomorrow.
tomorrow he'll be here, whatever.
You drag him in.
Yes. Achu, looking at the performance of England and the players they have, they're in the final, but are you happy with them?
Not really.
Why?
Because I think they are playing within themselves. And they look no more than the sum of their parts, unlike teams like Spain and Germany who have really shown up and balled out and have come this far.
So it means you are not pleased.
No, I'm not.
Look,
pleased.
whether great or lack or
Are you the one?
brilliance, they are in the final. That's
If
the
you
most
wanted
important.
your opinion, he would have asked you.
Yes, Mubarak, why?
They even played better yesterday. Just
Mubarak, why?
look at it. Look at their XG,
Why?
possession,
I beg
shots on
Mubarak.
target.
Hey.
Sorry, proceed.
So the conclusion is that Achu is not happy
Yes.
with England's performance.
No, but I am
Look,
happy. So
I don't care about you. The conclusion is that some are happy, some are not. And the American actor, Viggo Mortensen, he says that if you are focused on pleasing everyone, you never make anything that is truly yours.
Okay.
Even yesterday, the substitutions that were not forthcoming, a lot of people were still asking questions about Southgate. Obviously, the materials he have, people are unique in various ways, and that is him. So if he was attempting to please everyone, England may not be here. They may not be in the final. Let's see. They are in the final, but that is the end of the road for them.
That's what you think?
It's a fact.
Okay.
what is the fact?
The game hasn't been played.
Facts can't be
Facts.
disputed.
It's written
It's written where?
in the stars
By who?
by myself and God.
I see. International Karim, sweet Karim, spiritual Karim, metaphysical Karim. Okay, let's
Okay.
go on with you.
Let's go
Yeah.
into it. Yesterday, the goals, we saw some really nice goal from Javi Simons, which means that he's the second youngest teenager to score the fastest goal at the Euro semi-final after Alan Shearer in '96 for England. And also, he's the second youngest to appear in the semi-final for the Netherlands. So a lot of records for him scoring the goal, though it's unfortunate they are out. And Harry Kane and Ollie Watkins scoring for England, particularly Watkins' goal. If you are looking at expected goal, the chance of an average player scoring from that angle, there was 10% chance that that would end up in a goal. And
Wow.
really, the kind of technique he has, it's not really all players that you can see just one touch and the kind of how he maneuvered it. It's not all players that can do that. It means he has something unique in him. Let's look at the expected goals. Throughout the game, the Netherlands were expected to score 0.56 goals on average. That is one goal, and they did that. But if you are looking at it from open play, they were expected to score just 0.27 goals. It means that from open play, they didn't really create much. The same for England. From open play, they were expected to score goal. The penalty has really taken their XG this high to 1.3. And from open play, they were expected to score just 0.7. And XG has an expected goal of 0.79 onwards. So the XG it means they didn't really create anything in that game, any clear-cut chances. They created two big chances and missed one of them. Now let's look at it. Shots. In the game, England, they attempted two more shots than the Netherlands. And in the whole of the second half, apart from the Watkins goal, they did not attempt a shot in that one. let's look at possession. So looking at it in the sense that the kind of players England deployed in the midfield, Kobe Mainoo, we know how comfortable he is receiving the ball and making all those turns with ease. Southgate commended him that he has done it. You see that it's so easy, but in real, obviously, it's not easy to do it. Now, let's move it on. This is the kind of momentum we've seen in the game. How England started the game, they started it on a really good note, but towards the second half, this is the momentum in the first half. It means that it was really high here for them in the first half, but after the second half, they just was playing the ball just above their own halfway line, even when they were not leading. Sometimes you see teams playing the whole of the ball towards the middle of the park because they are trying to control a lead. But England, they sort of took their legs off the gas a bit in the second half. So the momentum was so little there until that winner came out from nothing. They didn't create so much in the first half. Now let's look at individual players. Yesterday, one player that has done well in subjective terms is Phil Foden. Maybe that was his best game at the Euros so far.
Yeah, and he made
that point.
Allusion to that. Yeah.
Yes. So these are his passes. Number of them, 40 of them. All of them were successful. But where are they going? The arrows. This is the attacking direction of England. It means that they are attacking towards this end. But a lot of the passes were either diagonal or coming back towards his own players. It means going forward, he didn't really offer a lot. Instead of passing into the box, he created just one chance. Not even a chance. He didn't create a chance in that game. And if we could go back to that this thing, I want to
the momentum graph?
No. The very first one, the general stats this thing. I want to point out something there.
All right.
The shots he has taken in that game, came in similar areas that we've seen him do it around this area. He took 2 shots around this part of the pitch. It's an area that we've seen him do so much for Manchester City. And in their final game of the season against West Ham, he scored a really delightful goal from this area of the pitch. And the other shots, the 3 of them he took, one of them came so close to the goal area and it was cleared off the line.
Is it not also because the player that he perhaps could be combining with, so for example, if he wanted to play any of those passes that we saw Cole Palmer play to Ollie Watkins, Kane isn't that type of player. He doesn't make those runs into the channels in behind the defense. Also, we've often seen Harry Kane come up short and drop actually very deep in getting involved in the build-up. And so even if Foden wanted to combine with him, those combinations have happened in the areas that we have seen on this map, as opposed to happening on the edge of the area or inside the penalty box, which essentially England don't occupy the penalty box. And so if you take any of the attackers, you'd realize that from their heat map, a lot of their passes would have the same trajectory as Phil Foden.
Yes, that is why if you are looking at the average possession of the England players, just 2 of them were in their own half, but a lot of them were just averaging it on the center circle. So it's not surprising. Maybe it's a whole England problem, but they are getting the results from it. So let's move it on. Now, Cody Gakpo in this tournament is arguably the best player for the Netherlands. But in this game, a lot of good didn't come out of it from him. In the 90 minutes he's played, he didn't touch the ball once in the English box. So that is a player that they relied on so much in the tournament. He's scoring the goals and assisting. He didn't touch the ball once in the English box and created just 1 shot. If your best player is creating just 1 shot and didn't even attempt a shot at all, so that is poor, and committed more fouls than he won. He won just 2 fouls and committed 3 fouls. Your most prolific scorer in the team is creating more chance. Is committing more fouls than he's winning. So it's the free kicks that he would have been winning that they would attempt scoring.
And he didn't also get a successful dribble.
As for dribbling, that's not his game.
It's not his game, but you know that if he was making those runs onto the line, he could have put in some crosses, but it didn't work out for them, and he was one of. This is down to the good work Kyle Walker has done, and Bukayo Saka also tracking back, helping Walker do the work. So it means that in that game, Walker was not dribbled past by any player. the kind of athleticism he's showing is really helping England do the job.
Okay, so
And that's
Cody Gakpo.
really going to be tested on Sunday on both sides of England's defense, because you've got Nico Williams, who's a 1v1 monster on that left side.
We didn't see anything
And
like
then-
that against France, actually.
And
You
then-
sat here, you praised Dembele. We didn't see anything like that against Spain. Okay, you continue.
Let me finish. And then on the opposite
I'm really
front,
interested in what
Well, you see, he's not
trying to
saying.
paint-
Well, he's
This is
saying that
paranoia.
these individual players have that ability, and he's
One-on-one
expecting it to happen on the day.
was
He's not
expecting-
saying they used it to dominate France.
don't worry.
Did he say that?
He expected
this is
Dembele to do
paranoia.
something
All right.
like that.
So, we're going to ask you the question now, and remember, call the number that we're going to place on your screen, and you get to win the prize as well. All right. So, Gakpo and the rest will come up later, but let's do a round of our messages, and we come back to reward you. All right, so we're still on the Spain subject, and you can understand, the reason why. So, Mubarak and Achu are still on this one.
The only reason is that Mubarak is paranoid.
No, how can I?
He's afraid of what's to come.
No. Well, it's quite unfortunate we'll not be here on Monday. Maybe we will. Let's see.
Okay, so let's now, get to the question for the day. It's there on your screen. Question is very simple. Which player scored in every group game, in the group stage of this year's Euros? Once again, which player scored in every group game of this year's Euros? Give me a buzz, and let's give you this prize once you are able to tell me the correct answer. If the first caller is able to give us the correct answer, that's the end of it. It's as simple as that. So just let us know which player scored in every game in the group stage of this 2024 Euros.
Wow, I really don't have an idea.
Okay, very good. So,
Can we attempt?
well, I've told you I've barred all of you from taking part in this. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, guys, so we're close to it. And, I mean, there's so much in terms of expectations, especially on the part of Spain. But there's something that always happens with teams that are in form, players that have big names and players that are highly rated. I mean, we've seen that in the past for many years. I mean, there have also been disappointments, issues with injuries and all of that. You can point to Mo Salah when he got injured in a UEFA Champions League final. You had a situation with Gakpo that we're just talking about, that he didn't come to the party. We'll be focusing on that a bit before we wrap things up. We'll come to your points in a little bit, but let's get on the phone line. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm great. My name is Nathaniel. What's yours?
I'm Mohammed, calling from Alajo.
Mohammed from Alajo. Alajo is actually just about 2 minutes drive from here.
Next door.
Very well. Yeah, it's next door. So tell me what the right answer is. Which player scored in every group game at this year's Euros?
Actually, I don't know his name, but he's a Georgian player.
Yeah. Well, thing is, we need a name. And that's the only, thing here. Yeah, we need a name. I mean, if I was asking about goals and who scored them, maybe I could have made a little, but we need a name. So kindly give me the name.
I have no idea, but he's a Georgian.
Okay. All right. So you call us back if you have, if you have the right answer. So number is on your screen. Question is right there. Let's see how things go. So, yeah, we are all predicting, and, nobody predicts doom for anybody.
Are
But
you sure we can participate?
no, you can't. You can't. So obviously we're expecting everybody to bring an A game on the day, but sometimes these things happen.
They do. And I think that for the English, they'll be hoping their best players will step up and make the difference, because that's what has brought them this far. It's not been the collective. They have, as I said earlier, not looked any more than the sum of their parts. Unlike the Spanish team, who have a clearly defined way of playing that essentially is built around their best players. England would have to hope that they, beyond having their best players stepping up to perform, will be able to stifle all of the attacking threats Spain have got.
Okay. Let's get back on the phone line. Hello, good morning.
Please, my name is Queen Nathaniel.
Oh, my namesake. Good to have you. Where are you reaching us from?
I'm calling from Ashama Katamansu.
Ashaiman Katamanso. That's great. Okay, tell me what the correct answer is. Which player scored in every group game at these Euros?
Okay. His name is Georges Matikwezi, the Georgian player.
Okay. All right. Okay, all right. Mikhail Tatse. Okay. You'd have to call us back because your answer was correct. My brother from Ashaiman, your answer is actually correct. And this is yours. This from NASCO is yours, for the taking. Unfortunately, guys, we have to wrap it up, but we're all looking forward to an electrifying final and one worth its salt on Sunday, isn't it?
Here we are, and we're going to have fun at the Heritage Craft Brewery. So just come, let's have fun.
Unfortunately for you, you cannot partake in what Heritage Brewery produce. So
don't be quick to conclude.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised.
No.
No. You see, Victor wants to chat
He's like
certain
that.
courses and territories which...
I'm just saying, give people the benefits of the doubts.
Yeah, but it's haram to participate in, But there's non-alcoholic beer lately, so, non-alcoholic beer.
I'll think about it.
He's thinking about it, so maybe you may have a point. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you all so much for being a part of the show. We'll bring you a detailed analysis ahead of the final tomorrow, and so you stay with us right here. We'll be at the Heritage Craft Brewery, as Victor has mentioned and reminded you about, so you have to be there on Sunday so that we wrap this up very well together. Thanks to our sponsors, NASCO and Heritage Christian College, and thanks to the whole production team. I'll be back tomorrow with another show. My name is Nathaniel Lato, and I have love for sport.